Hi photographers, this is a tutorial to help you hopefully in using some of the techniques by this artist model Kat D. I'm not too sure how you pronounce her surname correctly, so I'm just going to call her Kat D for this tutorial. What she does is she draws attention to the front face of the building, but she's actually skewed it so that it's kind of in almost a two-point perspective view, or it's flat at the front. So these edges are actually running parallel to the edge of the frame, and I think that if we looked at this building prior to her having manipulated it, that would not be the case. It would be on a slight angle. She also reflects the two framed buildings side by side on one document, sometimes the same building and sometimes two different ones with two slightly different edges to them. So I'm going to try to show you how you can go about creating a similar look with some of your work. So here's an image with a nice kind of perspective. What I'm going to do is actually select this area here of this front side of this building, and I'm going to pull it out using transform skew to get a really straight front facing face of the building. So before I do that, I add the grid so that I can see all those mathematical edges and lines. Then I'm going to go in nice and close so I can see what I'm doing. Pick up the polygonal lasso, it's my tool of choice for selecting anything, and click on one edge of the building and then click across until I have the entire face of the building selected. Okay, so when you've got your marching ants up around the building and that face selected, the next thing you can do is choose Edit, Transform and Skew. Now this is where those lines come in handy, because you actually want to create a very straight front facing edge of the building, so you can actually line the lines up with the mathematical grid in the background. Okay, and that's going to mean pulling some of these edges until you can see the marching ants going absolutely straight across one of those lines. This edge here is probably fine, and I think probably this edge is too. Let's just go Control 0 and zoom out for a minute. Yep, this could possibly come down a little tiny bit more. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so when you're happy with that, go Enter. Now, as I've dragged this edge of the building, let's just go into here, down quite low, what I might do is just use normal transform, so Control T, and just take that back up to the edge, which is going to leave us with a little bit of a black gap, maybe just slightly below that edge. Okay, and then I'm going to go Enter to that and Control 0 out. That little black area we'll be able to cover in a moment, because what we're actually going to do is add a stroke. So, like the artist model, we're really drawing the viewer's attention to the face of that building. So, to do that, you just simply make sure that you've got white selected down the bottom here in your foreground colour. Sometimes these can be reversed. You just click the arrows to have the white selected, and then go Edit, Stroke, choose your pixel width. I'm going to go with about 20 for this one. It will depend on the image size as to how big you want to go. I'm just looking at the artist model and trying to draw some similarities to what she's done here with hers. Okay, and then Control Deselect, and you can see, let's now take away our grid, going View, Show Grid. You can see that we've got that front face looking very similar to the artist model. These edges are nice and straight and parallel with the edge of the frame, and we've drawn attention to the face of the building by adding that white stroke. So the next thing you need to do is decide how you're going to reframe the edges of your work, and whether you're going to flip and rotate two of the same image side by side, or if you're going to do slightly different ones. Okay, so again, I find it quite useful to have the grid up for doing this. You may or may not like that technique, it's up to you. So let's say I want to have perhaps the same building reflected twice. What I'm going to do is just select my new frame that I want to have, using again the polygonal lasso, and using my grid lines to keep things nice and straight and balanced. Let's make that slightly lower angle. Okay, I've actually made that line there a little bit skew, so I'm going to deselect and start again on that one because I'm not happy with that. So Control D to deselect, very easily you can start over again. Let's take it right to there. down to the bottom, and let's make sure we're on the right line here. Okay, happy with that. Now you can quickly and easily inverse your selection so that you can take out the background and see what you've got by going Shift Control I and then delete. As long as you've got white in the foreground area, you can go OK to that, and then you'll get something that looks like this. Okay, and then again you can go Shift Control I and put the selection back around the building frame. So if you're happy with your framed edge, then you can of course either copy or drag and drop this onto a new document. So I'll show you what that looks like. I tend to work with international paper sizes, and I'm just going to use A4 for this, but I am going to rotate the canvas. So just image rotation, and CW means clockwise, CCW counterclockwise. Control 0 to make it nice and big on the screen. Okay, and then I'm going to drag and drop that onto my new document. Where's it gone? Here it is. And then of course you can go Control T and resize that and place it where you would like it to go. Okay, from here obviously I can go back to my original document, I can rotate the canvas, and then I can select it again and take it across to my new untitled document so that it's reflected back in the other direction, and the end result is something that looks like this, once you take away the grid of course. So you do need to give consideration to what you're flipping to the edge of the frame, whether you want two edges the same, two buildings the same, or if like the artist model you want to work with one of these that has, you know, two slightly different buildings and two slightly different framed edges. Okay, but in a nutshell, that is how you create that look by Cat D. Do give some careful consideration to the buildings you choose, and think carefully about whether you think that this is a technique that's really going to enhance your work and be a suitable artist model to help you show extension of ideas. Okay, I hope you have fun building your work. Good luck.